Once upon a time, in a kingdom nestled deep within the snowy mountains, there lived a tiny princess named Evangeline. Although she was small in size, her heart was vast and her courage knew no bounds. Evangeline ruled the kingdom of Glacia, where winter never ended and snow blanketed the land like a shimmering white quilt. The people of Glacia adored their tiny princess, not only because of her kind heart but also because of her curious nature. One morning, as Evangeline woke up to the soft glow of the winter sun peeking through her frosted window, she felt a strange pull toward the northern peaks of Glacia, a place she had only heard about in stories. According to legend, the tallest peak hid a glowing ice cave with a treasure of unimaginable power, a magic paintbrush. This brush was said to possess the ability to bring anything painted to life. Evangeline, always enchanted by the idea of creating new worlds and helping her people, decided that she must find this artifact. Before setting off on her adventure, Evangeline packed her tiny travel satchel with essentials: a small loaf of bread, a silver flask of hot cocoa, and her favorite possession, a delicate snow globe that had been passed down through generations of royal princesses. The snow globe wasn't just any trinket. It held the likeness of the entire kingdom of Glacia, encased in shimmering glass. Every time Evangeline shook it, a soft flurry of snow would swirl inside, making the tiny houses and palaces glitter with icy splendor. With a kiss on her father, King Edmund's cheek, and a promise to return soon, the tiny princess set off toward the northern peaks. Chapter 1. The Path of the Glowing Lanterns. The journey was no small feat for someone of Evangeline's size. The snowdrifts that barely reached an adult's knees towered above her head, but she pressed on with determination. The path was long and winding, twisting through snow-covered trees and frozen streams. After a day's trek, just as the sky began to darken, she saw something flickering in the distance, glowing lanterns hanging from tree branches, lighting up the snowy path. As she approached the first lantern, a soft voice called out, "Are you lost, little one?" Startled, Evangeline looked around but saw no one. "Who's there?" she asked, her voice small but steady. "I am the guardian of the glowing lantern path," the voice replied. "Only those with pure intentions may pass. Tell me, princess, why do you seek the northern peaks?" Evangeline hesitated for a moment before replying, "I seek the magic paintbrush. With its power, I hope to bring new life and warmth to my kingdom." The lanterns flickered softly, as if considering her words. Then the voice spoke again. "Very well, you may pass. But be warned, the path ahead is filled with tests of the heart. Only the brave and true shall reach the end." Evangeline thanked the unseen guardian and continued along the path. Each glowing lantern she passed seemed to whisper ancient stories of the kingdom, tales of old rulers and their quests. With every step, Evangeline felt a growing sense of connection to the land she called home. Chapter 2. The frozen forest of echoes. The lanterns eventually faded, and Evangeline found herself in the heart of the frozen forest of echoes. Legend had it that this forest was filled with the voices of those who had lost their way, forever calling out in search of an escape. As she ventured deeper, Evangeline began to hear soft whispers swirling around her. "Evangeline," the voices called. "Turn back. It's not too late. The ice is too thick. You are too small." At first, the voices made her heart race with fear. But soon she realized something. These weren't the voices of the lost. They were her own doubts and insecurities. The frozen forest reflected her inner thoughts. Evangeline paused, closing her eyes and taking a deep breath. "I may be small, and the ice may be thick," she whispered to herself, "but my heart is strong. I won't turn back." With renewed determination, she pressed forward, and as she did, the voices grew fainter and fainter until they disappeared altogether. The trees around her seemed to sparkle with approval, their branches dusted with fresh snow. Chapter 3. The Bridge of Silver Dreams. After hours of trudging through the snow, Evangeline came upon a wide, silver bridge that stretched across a deep chasm. The bridge shimmered in the moonlight, as if made of pure ice and dreams. At the center of the bridge stood a figure cloaked in white, holding a staff that glowed faintly in the dark. "Who goes there?" the figure called out. "I am Princess Evangeline of Glacia," she replied, her voice echoing across the chasm. "I seek the magic paintbrush to bring warmth and life to my kingdom." The figure stepped forward, revealing a face as old as time itself, with eyes like frozen stars. "This is the Bridge of Silver Dreams," the figure said. "Only those with dreams strong enough to cross may pass." "What is your deepest dream, princess?" Evangeline thought for a moment. She had many dreams, of seeing her kingdom thrive, of bringing joy to her people, of painting new worlds with the magic brush. But the deepest of all was something more personal. "My deepest dream," she said softly, "is to prove that even someone as small as I can make a difference in this great, big world." The figure smiled gently. "A noble dream indeed. Cross, little princess, and may your dreams guide you." With that, the figure vanished, and Evangeline began to cross the bridge. Each step felt like walking on air, light and effortless. She could see her dreams reflected in the ice beneath her feet, her kingdom alive with color, her people laughing and dancing, her father, the king, smiling proudly at her. When she reached the other side, Evangeline felt lighter, as if her heart had shed all its worries. Chapter 4. The Glowing Ice Cave. At last, after what felt like days of travel, Evangeline stood before the towering northern peak. The entrance to the glowing ice cave was hidden behind a wall of frosted trees, but the soft, ethereal light shining from within gave it away. Taking a deep breath, she stepped inside. The cave was unlike anything she had ever seen. The walls were made of solid ice, but they glowed with a soft, blue light, as if the very essence of magic itself was trapped within. At the far end of the cave, resting on a pedestal carved from pure ice, was the magic paintbrush. Its handle was made of enchanted wood, and its bristles shimmered with the colors of every season: green for spring, yellow for summer, orange for autumn, and white for winter. Evangeline approached it slowly, her heart pounding with excitement. But just as she was about to reach for the brush, the cave shook violently. The entrance collapsed in a shower of snow and ice, and a voice boomed from the shadows. "Who dares enter my sacred cave?" A massive figure emerged from the icy walls, a frost giant, his body made of ice and snow, his eyes glowing with cold fire. He towered over Evangeline, but the tiny princess stood her ground. "I am Princess Evangeline of Glacia," she said, her voice steady. "I seek the magic paintbrush to bring warmth and life to my kingdom." The frost giant laughed, a deep, rumbling sound that echoed through the cave. "A tiny princess like you? What could you possibly do with such power? You are too small, too weak." Evangeline's heart raced, but she refused to back down. "It's not the size of a person that matters," she said, standing tall. "It's the size of their heart. And I have come this far because my heart is strong." The frost giant studied her for a moment, his icy gaze piercing into her soul. Then, slowly, he began to shrink, his towering form diminishing until he was no larger than Evangeline herself. He smiled, a warm and gentle smile that melted the icy tension in the air. "You have passed the final test," the giant said, his voice no longer booming but soft and kind. "The magic paintbrush is yours." With that, the giant dissolved into a flurry of snowflakes, leaving Evangeline alone with the brush. Chapter 5. The Power of Creation. With the magic paintbrush in hand, Evangeline felt a surge of energy flow through her. She could feel its power, the ability to create and bring life to anything she painted. But she knew that with great power came great responsibility. She couldn't simply paint anything she wanted. She had to use the brush wisely. As she made her way back through the glowing ice cave and out into the snowy landscape, Evangeline thought about how best to use the brush. She could paint warm fires to melt the snow, or lush gardens to bring color to the winter landscape. But she knew that the true magic of the brush wasn't in changing the world. It was in helping her people see the beauty in it. When she returned to the kingdom, Evangeline gathered her people in the town square. With a single stroke of the brush, she painted a beautiful glowing lantern in the sky, one that would never burn out. The lantern lit up the entire kingdom, casting a warm, golden glow over the snow-covered houses and streets. The people gasped in awe as the lantern's light revealed something they hadn't seen in years: the beauty of their own winter wonderland. The snow sparkled like diamonds, the trees shimmered with frost, and the ice-covered buildings gleamed like crystal palaces. Evangeline smiled as she watched her people marvel at the sight. She had always known that Glacia was beautiful, but now her people could see it too. Chapter 6. The Return of Warmth. As the days passed, Evangeline used the magic paintbrush to create small wonders throughout the kingdom. She painted tiny gardens in the snow, where flowers bloomed despite the cold. She painted glowing lanterns in every village so that no one would ever feel lost in the dark. And she painted warm fires in the hearts of her people, filling them with hope and joy. The kingdom of Glacia flourished, not because the snow melted or the winter ended, but because its people learned to see the beauty in their world. They learned that even in the coldest, darkest times, there is always light if you look for it. And as for Evangeline, she became known not just as the tiny princess, but as the princess with the heart of gold. Her courage and kindness spread far beyond the borders of Glacia, inspiring other kingdoms to find the beauty in their own worlds. The magic paintbrush, now safely stored in the royal palace, was a reminder that true power doesn't come from the ability to change the world, but from the ability to help others see its magic. And so, the kingdom of Glacia lived happily ever after, glowing with warmth and light, even in the heart of winter.